Hi, Jerry. I think you are not
Yep.
muted anymore. Hey,
Yeah,
my
yeah, I got
friend.
you. Hey there, Ann. How you doing? You
Hey,
looking good?
brother. Doing good. You look good too.
Well,
We're not getting younger, Jerry, but we still look good,
yeah,
right? Can we just
yeah.
agree to that?
The Zoom meetings make you look at yourself, go, God, I've aged. COVID's killing me.
I know it. I know it. And
So,
this is the recorded one. So it's like, oh my gosh, when you watch it afterwards, like, whoa, really? But it's all good.
yep.
It's all
Okay.
good.
It
Yep.
said it was recording. Did you turn that off?
We are recording.
Okay. Okay.
So, yeah, we are recording. And what I'm going to do is, well, I can pause it, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. Putting the recording back on. So welcome everyone to this wonderful Zoom travel presentation of the National Guard Museum's Historical Society trip to France this July. I'm just going to do a really quick presentation of myself, and then we'll go over the day-by-day itinerary today, and Jerry is going to speak quite a bit about the activities that we're doing over in France. We've done this tour before, so it's the second time we're going. So we're very well prepared, and we're really, really excited about having it take off. So I'm going to start with myself, Jerry. I'm sorry, but I'm going to turn it over to you afterwards. I am Ann Fulby with Executive Travel here in Lincoln, Nebraska. And I have been with Executive Travel for the past 12 years, running the group department and basically operating all our European tours. My accent, as you probably already have figured out, is not American. I am born in Denmark, Copenhagen, and I live in Athens, Greece for the last 30 years. So half of my life is kind of in Greece, half of my life is in Denmark. My husband is Greek, that's the reason why. And I work out of Lincoln, Nebraska. So I am a commuter. And I know it sounds crazy, but I do literally, I mean, before COVID, I used to be here every month commuting from either Copenhagen or from Greece. I stay here for 3-4 weeks at a time. And then I fly back home and I operate from our European offices in Athens or at my beach house. I have one too, Jeannie, in Athens. It's not North or South Carolina, but it's a nice place too. Benefits for everyone is probably that I'm going to be on the same time zone when you are over in France. I have traveled all my life, been everywhere in Europe for longer periods of times. My dad was in shipping, so we were moving around. And I am basically working extensively on our European tours, including your tour, of course, with the museum here in France. We did it in 2019, same time of the year in July, and it was very successful. We had a wonderful, wonderful tour. I will say that this trip is probably our flagship journey. Every time we do it, we just absolutely love it. And we have a wonderful, wonderful collaboration and work relationship with Jerry and his people up in Seward. And I feel very blessed that we can carry this trip out finally. Now people are starting traveling again after COVID. It's a lot of positive things are happening. So it's just that it's very easy to travel nowadays. You can look forward to meeting your tour guide. We met again this morning and we are preparing the last details, putting them in place for your trip here in July. So we're just excited about having you and joining you. And if you have any friends who would like to join, spread the word. We're going to close for the registrations here in a couple of weeks. We have 23 people joining us at this point in time. So we still have a few open spots available. So if anybody's interested or hear of anyone who would like to join, just make sure to reach out to us. So that's about Ann Fulby, that's me, and Executive Travel. And Jerry, who are you in the zoo?
Well, I'm Jerry Meyer. I'm the Nebraska National Guard historian. Some of you we've met out here at the museum before, so I'll be your host on the ground with Brigitte, who you'll meet as our French guide. Like I said, we had the honor to do the 75th anniversary several years ago. It seems so long ago, pre-COVID. And I tell you, we were treated like royalty over there. And it's been a pleasure to take groups over there we bring a lot of firepower, I think, both between Brigitte and myself, and Ann did. We took Steve Glenn, the owner of Executive Travel, along on the last trip. Now, you got to imagine we took 55 people the last time. In 2019, we had 55 people on a bus, so it was like a traveling caravan on that one. That was a full house. The smaller groups, I think, are going to be much better. We've learned some valuable lessons from 2019, and we've had 2 years of waiting to travel again, and that's really kind of what we're looking forward to is getting back to traveling, because the French just love us over there, and we had nothing but great experiences the whole route. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm a retired colonel, and I think Brigitte outranks me. So I give her the reins when she's running the tour. She really runs a good ship, which makes it reassuring to everybody that you're in good hands. So that's really all I got to say about myself. I love being here in the Nebraska National Guard Museum. I try to give you as many stories as possible when we're on the trip. We do bring a lot of stuff over there and to hand out. It's a lot of fun. So with that, Ann, I'll turn it back over to you.
Perfect. And I'm going to share my screen. So we'll start with that. And I'm going to bring up our presentation here. And I just hope that everybody will be able to see what I see as well. I hope we're going to get up here to the beginning. We started at the end. That's kind of a great thing too. Well, wait a minute, folks, stay tuned. We're going to get there. So, okay. So can you see my screen, everyone? Because I have a little bit of I have you out on my side, but I hope everybody can see a first very rich slide. Jerry, do you see that?
Yep, I'm
perfect. Good. Super. Okay, so we are taking off on July 13th through July 24th, and then we have a little extension in Paris if anybody's interested in that. And we know that half of the group approximately are extending for a couple of days in Paris. So let's just get started and go through the page by page itinerary here and talk about that, and with a lot of great comments from Jerry as well. So 12 days, and we are starting and ending in Paris. And then we're going to go the beginning of the tour. We're going to head over towards the D-Day beaches. We're going to spend 5 nights over here in Bayeux, which is a wonderful place to stay. And then we're going to start moving over towards Nancy. We're going to touch base up in Luxembourg, in Belgium, in Bastogne. We're not staying there, but we're visiting some very, very unique sites. In Bastogne, the museum, we have a lot of wreath laying at cemeteries as well. Beautiful memories you're going to create there. And then we're going to drive back through Reims, which is the Champagne area of France, make a stop there, have a toast to the tour, and end in Paris. So this is how we are going to go. This is how we're going to run. You can see the yellow pointed out here as Saint-Lô, one of the biggest highlights of the tour. We're going to get to that when we speak about the daily itinerary. So let's get started. Day number 1, it's a Wednesday. It's July 13th, and that's when we're going to start from the United States. And we have people joining us from a few different cities than Omaha in Nebraska. But you're all going to fly over to Paris. Paris is our goal. So Charles de Gaulle is the goal of the day, and it's an overnight flight. So you will start over here in Omaha. It's just after midday, and with a stop in Chicago, you're going to end over in Paris the following day. So it is an overnight flight over to Paris. You're going to be in Paris the following morning. And when we arrive, what we have planned for you this day is to visit. We're in fairly early in the morning, so we have time to make a stop at Monet's Gardens in Giverny. On the way that we're heading west over towards the D-Day beaches. Beautiful gardens, a wonderful museum. Hopefully the weather is going to be like you see in the pictures here, sunshine. It's summertime, absolutely beautiful. If we have time, we are going to stop also at the Pegasus Bridge. I know it's probably more British related than French, but if we see that we get off on time from the airport of Paris and heading over west, we can also make a stop at Pegasus Bridge, ending in Bayeux this evening. So a few things that I want to mention here is we are trying to make you stay awake this first day. We know that it's not everyone who is very good at sleeping on airplanes, and I have been commuting from the United States back to Europe for 12 years, and I am not a person who can sleep on airplanes, meaning that when I get over there, I'm pretty tired, but I always try to stay awake that first day, put some activities in that keeps me awake, and then hit the sack that night, maybe an early good night, but that'll help a lot getting rid of the jet lag for the following days. And we have a busy program, okay? So try to stay awake this first day, maybe a little nap on the bus, but you will get a lot of interesting information from both Jerry and Brigitte. So try to stay awake and then maybe just go early to bed. You will see on the slides the actual miles that you're driving. So 185, excuse me, miles the first day. The BLD down in the corner, in the right-hand corner, means breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So we have a lot of meals included as well on this tour. Some days you will have the opportunity to just go out and experience French food on your own, but we also have a lot of meals included in the tour. So Jerry, anything about the Pegasus Bridge, if we are lucky enough to get in on time and we can manage to make a stop there?
Yeah, again, Brigitte does great timing on a lot of these things. She can make that call on the bus there. And she was able to allow us to do a lot of stuff in 2019 that we've added into this trip. Monet's Garden. And just like she said, is try to stay awake. That's the big thing. You know, I take the donut thing, you know, to sleep. It's not the best, but it works. And what your body will do will adjust to getting there in the morning. It's a long walk from the one terminal to where we need to meet up with Brigitte. But once we get on there, take a little nap on the bus. Brigitte and I will welcome you and then relax. Get out there. Monet's Gardens is a new addition for us this year. My wife wanted to add some culture, you know, and I thought we had enough culture with all the other stuff we had there, but we added Monet's Gardens, and that's beautiful. Pegasus Bridge was the British airborne objective. They landed gliders right next to that bridge there that you see in the picture. It's called Pegasus because that was their patch. That was the British airborne guys. And it's one of the first things that was captured early on the morning of June 6, 1944. It would be we call it a drive-by in our world. So we'd get by there, we'd get out a little bit, kind of meet, and I could talk about some of the history of that. I'm an airborne qualified guy, so I can't talk gliders. I'm not that old, but I can talk about jumping out of planes. But it was probably the greatest feat of airmanship that they landed the gliders next to that bridge there in that picture. So, and then Bayou, again, we stayed in Cannes last year, which is a little bit farther distance from the beaches. Executive travel has put us right in the heart of Normandy. And I rarely tell people this. I'm a red, white, and blue American, but if I was an expatriate and was to retire, I would retire in Normandy, France. And because it is such a beautiful place. And Bayou is, if you haven't heard about the tapestry, when you come into town, there's this beautiful statue of Eisenhower standing out on one of the roundabouts there. So really cool cemeteries and cathedrals there in Bayou. It's a great place for us to hang out, you know, when you get back, and you can unload your luggage, and then you don't have to worry about getting back on the bus with all your stuff the next day, because we're there for those 5 nights. So that's all I got, Ann.
Okay, super. We're going to slide to the next day here. So now the busy days start at the D-Day beaches and museums and a lot of sites and cemeteries. We have added a few pictures from our 2019 group here, just to give you a picture and of you know how it really is with the real people. So Utah Beach, Saint Mère de Cleese, and Iron Mike. So lots of things included this day. The program will run smoothly. Brigitte will make sure that we get to visit the places that we want to visit. Absolutely. Some visits will be a little longer than others. Some places that you are heading out to see will be a little bit of a longer of walking distance. Walking down to the beaches, you definitely want to walk at least one of the days down to the water line and get a feel for all this. But Jerry, I know that the Utah Beach and the Higgins Memorial and everything there, the Higgins boat, and is very, very important to you. It was to me extremely emotional to get there and realize how the presence of the Nebraskans actually were. There's a huge sign there by Higgins boat that just it took my breath away. The Sainte Mary Cleese is where the parachuters landed on the roof of the church. And Jerry, please fill in here and give some information. I know that you are you're a historian as well. So give us a few hints here without going 3 hours tonight.
No, yeah.
Please.
In 2019, I had to tamp down my excitement of being an airborne soldier and going to St. Mary-Glace. Now, St. Mary-Glace is where the first Americans dropped in, and they dropped right on top of the village and all over they dropped all over Normandy. But you see Private Steele's hanging up there, still the mannequin. And we take a parachute from Buzzy Herman. He was a soldier here in the Seward unit. He went on to the 101st Airborne. We take part of his parachute back there. So you get a picture of holding this parachute in front of that cathedral, because that's where he landed. He landed pretty close there. So you got to go to the Airborne Museum. They've got more stuff. You know, I'm sure some of you are just going to go, there's a lot of stuff. And then you pick and choose what you want. Like Brigitte, or like Ann said, you know, you do the walking that you want to do, and you can see just about everything. You know, it depends on what you want to see. But the Higgins Memorial that's at Utah Beach, that was my student project. We did the one up in Columbus back in 2020 some years ago. Built a national memorial to Mr. Higgins. He's the boat builder from Columbus that went on to New Orleans to build those landing craft, and they transported that one for the 75th anniversary there. So they moved a French memorial. So where the Higgins Memorial is, there used to be a French marker there. They moved it inland a little bit. And the Utah Beach Museum is wonderful. The people there are great. We started talking about Higgins in Columbus, Nebraska, and all the French gather around. They know a lot about him. So I think by the time you're done with day 3, you'll know everything about Higgins that you probably were afraid to ask, but I'll gladly answer. So it's a great day. It's a lot of fun, and it's a good way to start. It's pretty laid back, and like I said, Utah Beach is a great beach to start on. It's flat. It's not like Omaha Beach and Arromanch, and it's easy one to get around. And you know, you can do it to the level you want. And like I said, I race through museums. My wife gets mad at me. She reads every card. I race through them because I'm looking for detail of things I want. And that's the way you need to look at it. There's lots of good things to see during this day.
There is. And also the little village of St. Mary-Glace is just so scenic. It's very, very picturesque, and lots of small shops, cookie places, and just great places. Just walk or stroll around a little bit. So it's a great day. It's only 80 miles. So literally, I mean, you're not driving, you're not spending a lot of time on board the bus. You would be outdoor, and you will see a lot of sights during this day, like all the rest of the days for sure. They're packed. Mm-hmm. Okay. So we'll be staying in Bayeux, and this is just a map to kind of give you an idea of where we are. We are right in the middle of everything. Jerry, any comments to the map with the beaches?
Well, yeah, for the group then, if you look at where Con is in the lower right of that map, that's where we stayed last time. So again, you can kind of see how we were farther off the beaten path to get to the beaches. And again, being in Bayou is a godsend for executive travel to put us there, because we're right, you know, we have the hotel to ourselves. We are it. I mean, we are the show in town that day. And so that makes for a good deal. I really do. I think that's a perfect thing for us.
Absolutely. Okay. So day 4, we are on Saturday now, and this to me is like also one of the most exciting beaches to visit, and just get the story of the floating Mulberry Harbor that was put into place here. It's absolutely amazing. Jerry, I know I'm going to sound like an old broken record, but there is a video, and I'm going to try and find that and see if I can email it to all of you afterwards, about actually how this entire harbor was set up, and how the idea of doing a floating harbor was carried out. It's amazing.
Well, they call it Port Winston after Winston Churchill.
Yes.
And they floated these huge concrete caissons. You can see it in the middle photograph a little bit. Those are the roads that go from the actual mulberries way out in the water. You see them in the upper left photograph. Part of the concrete ones are still there. I tell you, this Arromanch is a beautiful village. We stopped there for lunch the last time, went out on the water. I remind the guests there, we will give you oil sample bottles or small plastic bottles or containers, and you can scoop up the sand from each of the beaches and label them. So if you're like my daughter, I send her, and if you don't want to go down the beach, my daughter, or the young people can do that for you, but they run down there and they scoop up the sand for you and you label it, and you can take that back with you. So, you know, those are some of the things, but this Arromanch is a wonderful place. It was our first experience with Calvados, the local apple brandy, which I tell you, it's like jet fuel, and I'm not kidding you. So
No,
if
it's not.
if
It's the
something
most
says,
delicious
yeah,
apple cognac. So
yeah,
it's
if they
not
say, if
fuel.
it says Calvados on it, I warn you now that, everything else is fine, but boy, that stuff's strong. But this is a beautiful village, and it's got a lot of cool history. Now, also part of that one is going to, is Omaha Beach. It's probably the most emotional one you'll go on, which is our first cemetery, which is at Colville, somewhere, the Normandy American Cemetery. And I'm telling you, when you see 9,000 some crosses there, and where the picture there, you'll see Ralph Hansen. He's a World War II veteran in the middle there. We usually pick 3 of our group to go up there, so you get an opportunity to to lay a wreath. And it's a really cool ceremony they do. And then we allow you to go out, and there's 21 of our guys buried in the cemetery there, and you can go visit them because they don't get a lot of visitors from Nebraska that leave something. But we have coins for you and flags and stuff. They do a thing called sanding, where they'll sand from the Omaha Beach. They'll bring sand up and wet it and put it inside the letters of the graves, so we can get better pictures. It's, to me, it's emotional because I know every one of those guys, every 21 of those guys. I know who they are, and it's emotional for me to visit them and see them. But you go to Omaha Beach, like I said, you'll see this beautiful French art piece that's down on the beach there. There's some really cool stuff to see. Then there's Pointe du Hoc. Now, I will tell you a story. Pointe du Hoc is just out in the lower right photograph there. The Germans had artillery pieces that were supposed to be there on D-Day, and the Rangers climbed that 90-foot cliff. And when you're standing there and you look over a 90-foot cliff and you think, how did they get up there? Well, you talk about American courage, and they were under fire and hand grenades, and they got up there and they assaulted that position. When we were there, we Ralph went with us as our World War II veteran, and we got back on the bus, and we were missing somebody. It was Ralph, and I go, great. We go and we do a World War II tour. We lose our one World War II veteran, and I went running back down to Pointe du Hoc, and he's surrounded by French school kids signing autographs and doing that stuff. And I'm like, hey, Clark Gable, let's go. We got a tour to do. And he was so pleased by how these kids were, and they know more about this place than we do. So I think you're going to enjoy this day. It's emotional, but it's also pretty powerful.
Yeah, and again, we have very short driving miles, so here you are out and about, and have the time to visit and go and dig into the places that you're at. So, and yes, you're absolutely right, Jerry. Ralph on the tour, on the previous tour, was he became a celebrity, and it was just absolutely wonderful to have him with us. That was fantastic. So yeah. On a side note, you will see some bunkers, and I'm going to go like one slide back. On some of the beaches that you're at, you will see World War II bunkers. So since I'm Danish and born in Denmark, this is just a side note. On the west coast of Denmark, this is what I have visited. I cannot tell you how many times, numerous times with my parents. These are the actual bunkers from the Second World War that are still on the beaches, like all the way up the coastline from the Normandy, also further south, but also all the way up on the west coast of Europe, so to speak. And you can actually go into the bunkers. I was there the last time here during COVID times with my mother, and we went over to the west coast from Copenhagen, and we actually walked around all the sand hills and got into the bunkers. Very, very interesting. Some of the bunkers still have the entire story here, and you can climb in and go in. It's scary. But oh my gosh, it's interesting. And you're going to see some of this as well on your tour. So I just kind of like, on a side note, here we go. This is literally how they were. So yeah, I think I brought you a corner of a bunker home, didn't I, Jerry, last time? I kind of like, I found a piece of it.
Ann's building this up, but I will tell you, there are no rails at Pointe du Hoc. So, Ralph went down inside those bunkers, and they're steep, and you just be careful. That's the one thing we tell you. We don't want you to become part of the the encasement there, but they're absolutely gargantuan. Yeah. And we hammered them. So yeah,
that's super interesting. Okay, back to our program. So we have day 5, and we are kind of right now, we're building up also, Jerry, to July 18th, which is our St. Lo Celebrations Day. But before we get to that, on Sunday here, we're walking in the footsteps of the Nebraskans, and we're gonna drive. We're gonna get to the mountain village of Mortang. So an absolutely amazing town as well. Once you are there, you will understand the elevation as well. And you can, I mean, it's hard to imagine, but you maybe can imagine how tough it was for these people to just move and get to these areas, just moving further into France. So today we're visiting Mortain, and we have a lunch there as well. We have, at the end of the day, we have this wonderful, wonderful place where we are going to drink some Calvados, and it's an apple cognac, and we're going to have some cheese tastings. And the picture down here at the corner is from our last time we were there. But Jerry, words on Mortain, please.
Okay, Mortain is, if we actually have gone out of sequence historically, but we're okay. Mortain is a village outside of the Norman hedgerow country, and when we broke out of St. Lo, we went past Mortain, and then the Germans made a counterattack, and we had to go back to save the 30th Division there at Mortain. We're going to go up to a hilltop position where part of the division was surrounded, and 2 Nebraska soldiers got in a truck and were able to get some tanks, and they raced up there with supplies and were able to bring the wounded back. And it's a great story, but I'm telling you, you go to these foxholes, they're still there. Mortain is a beautiful community up in the hills. It's beautiful. You're gonna have a great meal there. You get a chance to see it. You'll get out of the hedgerows for a little bit up into the more alpine one, and then like Ann said, the people that run they're called Billy's. It's a family operation there.
Yes.
That does the Calvados tasting, and they have apple cider too. That's what I normally would, you know. Calvados will get you if you're not careful. So the cider is great too. And then, like I said, the cheeses are outstanding. Fromage is the French word for cheese, and they've got them all there. And it's a lot of fun. And they'll take you to their family operation. They'll show you how they make Calvados and stuff, which I think is really cool. So a lot of the agricultural people like myself love that kind of stuff. How are things made, and how do you do this? But that's a great day. So they're building up for the big day, which is Liberation Day, which is the 18th. So
exactly. And if anybody feels they have a little cold, they still jet lag, get in Calvados. It's going to kill everything.
Calvados
You're going to
will
be
cure
fit
it.
for fight.
Yeah.
Oh, heck yeah. So, okay. So next day, big day, Jerry, I spoke with Brigitte again today, and the hedgerow tour is something we're going to bring back. We're hopefully going to find our elderly man, Otto, and have him lead that. So we're going to go into the hedgerows, and actually we're also going to probably see some cows today, and try and find hedgerows that are not really easy to get to for anyone, except if you have a local expert with you. And that's what we plan on having, like we did in 2019. So we have a tour of the hedgerows. We have a lunch with the local Rotary Club in St. Lo. We're going to visit Hill 122. We were looking to find that last time, Jerry, but I think it's going to be easier this time.
Mm-hmm.
And then the St. Lo celebrations. So a full day dedicated to hedgerows and to the St. Lo celebration, with a great dinner, with also a great lunch with the local Rotary Club in St. Lo. So anything here particularly, Jerry?
Well, the big thing for that, and again, for those that are joining us outside of Nebraska, we just ask that on that day you wear a red shirt. You wear something, you can say Nebraska, I don't care. As long as it's red, and we can pick you out in the crowd there. It's going to be red, white, and blue for the French anyway. So I mean, but our group will be all in 2019. We all got shirts, but again, people like certain styles or whatever. As long as it's red, we're good to go. And then the hedgerows, like Ann said, you're going to go to Hill 122 north of St. Lo. It's about 3 miles from the city center. And we fought over that. And we had 65% casualties on July 15th of 1944, trying to take that darn thing. And when you're there, you're perplexed by, just the battlefield itself, and you're down in the heart of it. And this guide in that upper left picture there, I think he's a British national, gets on the bus, and he will take you to a pristine hedgerow. They've sealed it off, and there'll be parts of helmets and casings and stuff still from the war 75 years later that are still in there. And that's a unique experience. Not a lot of people get a chance to go in, because it's private land. They've coordinated, executive travels coordinated all this. So we have the run of the place, man. And then, like I said, if you're in Rotary, I need to know that, because we are sister city. Seward is with St. Lo for Rotarians, and they put on a heck of a meal. If you look at the map of St. Lo from 1944, there's an arrow pointing to the bridge, and where this hotel is, it says it's mined. The whole area was mined, and we fought through that minefield to get into St. Lo. So today it's an easy walk from the hotel to the old city. And then, like I said, when you see the lower part there where it says St. Lo and it's got that cathedral there, they've rebuilt that, and it's pretty impressive to see today. Lots of ceremonies. Again, I don't know the level that they will do like the 75th one, but you'll probably go to 3 ceremonies. 2 of them are pretty short. One may be a little lengthy, at the one that you see on the lower right there. But the French are all about pomp and circumstance. So they do a great job of presenting, and you will not be won't be disappointed by the number of chances you get an opportunity to hand something to somebody. And because, like I said, we have flags and coins and patches and stuff to give when you're there. And this is a perfect day. So July 18th is all about celebrating St. Lo.
It absolutely is. And, we were kind of like a sea of red, Jerry, when we were there. It was absolutely wonderful. And it was, again, a very emotional day. It's just that every day is just very, very special, and special things are happening every day. That's a guarantee on this tour. It's amazing. Following day, we are moving over towards Nancy, which is kind of in the middle of France. And we will make some stops on the way. It's the longest drive on the tour. It's 400 miles. So this is a day after, the celebrations, after being at the Normandy beaches and all that wonderful jazz in that area. You have a day where you're going to stay longer on the motor coach. So it'll take a day to get over to Nancy. We have, and Jerry, actually, I was just confirmed this morning that we are staying at the same hotel. So we are in the middle of the square at the most amazing 5-star property in town, facing the old municipality. There is a light show at night. And that was just confirmed here a couple of weeks ago that they're going to do that again. They're back after COVID to do the light show at night. So you will be in a city that will just simply take your breath away. Nancy is just fantastic. We'll take a day of just relaxing a little bit on the motor coach and getting to Nancy. We will make a stop in Amiens on the way and visit the Notre Dame Cathedral, which is the largest in France, and absolutely wonderful, just to break the tour a little bit, get out, stretch our legs, and have a lunch there, but then getting into Nancy in the late afternoon to this wonderful, wonderful property in the middle of the town square. It's beautiful. I can't explain it. Just wait till you see it and wait till you stay there. You will enjoy this city for sure.
Well, Anne has given you a little bit of a teaser. I'm telling you, in 2019, we stopped at several small villages that we liberated along the way, and people did roll out the red carpet, but it takes a lot of time, getting on and off a bus, and as we're working our way towards Nancy. But I'm looking forward to the cathedral visit, the break up the trip a little bit. But I'm telling you, when you look at the lower left picture of Nancy, that square there, and then you look at the picture of the light show there at the bottom right, your hotel is immediately to the left in that lower left picture there.
Just on the corner.
Just on the corner. And they will give you a key to your room that's about this big, and it weighs like 5 pounds. And so you put it in your pocket, it's one of those old school keys. I'm like, really? And it is a really cool place. And we're talking 1600s. I mean, that the statue in the center there, that's old school. And there'll be thousands of people there for the evening light show. And I'm telling you, we did 2 of those shows because they're worth staying up for. It's right outside your hotel. I mean, you just walk down the lobby and out in the front there and enjoy. And there's great restaurants to the right there too, also, that we ate at. Nancy is a UNESCO heritage site, without a doubt. We didn't bomb it like we did St. Lo.
Yeah, it is a beautiful, beautiful city, absolutely beautiful. And there will be some good stories on the bus as well. I know that I said we're going to spend the day on the motor coach, more or less, but it's not going to be a boring day. I guarantee you that. With Jerry, nothing is boring ever. So yes, it's going to be a good day. The next day is dedicated to some sites in the area. So very, very short distances to drive. So after a long day on the motor coach, we're going to get back to not being on the bus very much. But we do have some extremely interesting places to visit. We have a bridge, Jerry. We have a monument. We have a guy who has a barn, literally turned a barn into a Second World War museum. I can't tell you that I was astonished. I was almost like in shock when I walked in there. I could not believe all the artifacts that this has been collected and he's kept there. Absolutely amazing place as well. And then we do plan on still meeting with the mayor of Nancy and have a ceremony there It's in French language. So Birgitta, who is your tour guide, she's here with a green scarf and here as well with the mayor of St. Lo, of Nancy. She's going to translate because it's all going to be in French. You are really into the local areas here, but we will have a great translator in Birgitta. But Jerry, the bridge, the monument, the Lorraine American Museum.
Yeah, without a doubt, this is going to be one of those emotional days. That Flavade Bridge that you see in the middle picture, that's what it looks like today, but back in the war years there, what had happened was our forces, our Nebraska guys, found the bridge intact and they ran across it. Well, guess what? The Germans blew the bridge behind them and then they swept down on them. And a lot of our guys tried to swim back and were drowned. And we had about as worse of casualties as we did at St. Lo here at a place called Flavade Bridge. We didn't go to that part the last time we were there. So this will be a new one for us. So I'm looking forward to seeing that battle site. There's a few other small ones right around that area that Birgitta knows about. Like I said, the Lorraine American Museum, that guy's got more stuff there, and he's so proud of that one. But I tell you, when you end with the mayor of Nancy in that hall is just across from the hotel, and it's a beautiful reception area. But that's where Colonel Miltonberger received the scroll from the mayor of Nancy back in 1944, in September of 44. So they are very proud of that. They're very proud of that September date and us liberating. The Nebraskans were the ones that liberated the city. So we get this nice reception there. They treat us really well. And again, more wine, more toast. And last time we were there, they did a Chopin concert for Chopin in this concert hall next to this room. I mean, they had a whole concert hall and with people there, to meet Ralph and everybody. And it's quite a deal. I mean, they really roll out the red carpet for you. So I think you will enjoy Nancy. It's a beautiful city. It's fun to walk around. I know I did with my camera and took a lot of pictures. It's a great place to hang out.
All right. And now we have cemeteries today. We are visiting Lorraine American Cemetery. We're actually just taking a round of the area. So we're staying still overnight in Nancy. Driving 110 miles is nothing, but we're going to go and we're visiting the Lorraine American Cemetery and Memorial in St. Avold. And I know that Jerry, I believe Birgitta has actually hooked up with the mayor there as well. And we may have a wonderful, wonderful surprise. I'm not going to say anything yet. We are getting the confirmation here within the next few weeks. And it's just a very, very emotional day as well. And literally, like you said, Jerry, when you walk into these cemeteries and you see thousands of white crosses, it's something that just, you can't explain it and how you feel. It just gives you this overwhelming feeling of, wow, it's definitely going to grasp you. Most of the white crosses, and I think this is really interesting. You mentioned it, Jerry, that they put the sand into the names here from the D-Day beaches. So you can see the crosses. It's quite difficult to actually, if you were out looking to find someone, the names are very difficult to see. But once you get someone who, you find someone, and we have a ceremony as well, like Jerry explained, they put the sand from the Normandy beaches into the names and it pops. And you can see here, like this is an example. Otherwise, like here, this is Ralph, our hero. He's here with one of the crosses. It's hard to see the names, but once they put in the sand, it all pops. And even that, I think, is something very, very unique that they do. So you're gonna experience that as well. And we have a visit also to Sugarloaf Hill, and that entire area that day. We have time enough to visit and do what we need to do today. Lots of stories also.
Yeah, Lorraine American is the largest of the American cemeteries over in France. It's 11,000 plus crosses in there. And again, we've got, a lot of guys in there. So we do give you the opportunity. We tell you exactly where that, just like she said, they'll come in and prep those graves for you, and they'll have the flags, and then you can put a flag. We put, the 35th Division patches on them. This is where Ralph Greeley is buried. Ralph Greeley received the Distinguished Service Cross. He was killed on Sugarloaf Hill. So it's pretty emotional when you're there. Sugarloaf Hill, like I said, is in the Village Army Corps. There's a memorial at the base of the hill. So this is where Alan Baldwin, Jeannie, this is where Alan's dad was wounded on this battlefield. So this is big thing for them. So actually you have people that are on the tour that have relatives that were at some of these battlefields. So it makes for kind of a cool thing. And I'm glad you put Joe Lotto up there. The American Battle Monuments Commission takes care of the monuments and the cemeteries, and they really roll out the red carpet for us. I mean, really, they do. I've seen other tour groups that come by, they don't get the love that we do. So, and matter of fact, Joe brought up a good point. He goes, you know, do you know these certain people? And you know, he knew a lot of people that we should know as Nebraskans. You know, one of the last guys to die is just down the road in Dorchester, Nebraska. You know, his grave is just right off the path here. You know, so Charlie Havelock. I mean, how come we don't know that? I didn't know he's buried there. So you know, you get a lot of cool history just by talking to these superintendents, and they're young guys, but they're great. They really make sure we get everything we need. So
yeah, they are extremely accommodating as well. When I went there and swung through and just visited to make sure everything was the way it should be, they gave me such a welcoming, almost a ceremony just for me. I was overwhelmed. It was absolutely amazing, and they just do a fabulous job. They are so proud, and you can just feel it. I mean, they give you such a welcome that you don't find that in many places in the world anymore. But they are amazing. They truly are. So you're back in Nancy, and this is a night where you can enjoy a glass of wine. Hopefully sit outside. It's going to be daylight till pretty late. That's why the light show is on later in the night, because the days are long still in July. But go back to Nancy and enjoy this absolutely beautiful UNESCO World Heritage Site town, and have a glass of wine, kick back, people watch. There is time enough for that tonight here. So on day 10, Jerry, this is again one of the places that just kind of had for me one of the strongest auras. Like I felt something took place inside of me when I finally found L'Outre-Bois, when I was on my way on the inspection tour of your first trip, driving around. We're moving into Luxembourg, and this is where we're going to spend the night at a very nice property as well in Luxembourg. But before we get there, we have several stops. So a stop at the Luxembourg American Memorial Cemetery, and then at L'Outre-Bois, which is out in the countryside, and where Americans were killed as well, a battlefield. There's something about that place. There's just something about it. And I am pretty sure you will feel that too once you stand there and you see this piece of a bunker, the rock with the names on the board. It's gonna touch you before you get to an even more stunning place, the museum in Bastogne. Absolutely wonderful. I think you can spend 3 days at the museum in Bastogne, or even more, Jerry. We're going to limit it to some hours, but again, it's amazing places. It's something that you're also into day 10 here, so you've got the history now. You are familiar with what's going on. It's almost like you are reliving the entire history, and visiting these places as well is a very, very important day. Absolutely.
Yeah. When we go to Luxembourg, one of the most famous American generals is buried there. That's General Patton, and he's behind a chained off area. And the superintendent goes out there and opens it up and allows our group to go around and do a group picture. And then they chained it back up again. And another group came in and said, "Can we do that?" And the guy said, "No." So it's like, okay. So we had VIP treatment for that one. At Luxembourg American Cemetery is beautiful. And I'm telling you, all those American cemeteries are immaculate. And if we did half that level for our cemeteries, for our veterans that were killed in combat back here, I'd be impressed. But but when Ann said, when you go to L'Outre-Bois and L'Outre-Mons, which is a village kind of right next to it there, that bunker, when you see the names of those Americans, now I'm not going to tell you the whole Battle of the Bulge there, but these Americans were medics, and they were surrounded by the SS in the Battle of the Bulge in December of 44 and January of 45, and they were cut down. They were just shot. Rather than take POWs, they shot them. So like Ann says, you will feel something when you're there. It's in a copse of trees. And how Ann found it, I don't know, but we took a tour bus and we were able to get there. But it's out in the countryside, and it's peaceful, but it's also pretty haunting. And then if you look at the bottom right there, you'll see the museum is in the lower part and the memorial is in the upper part. Anne tells you don't have a whole lot of time. We could spend 3 days there, but when you're touring there, if you want to go see the memorial, which is up on the upper part there, I had to run. I mean, I had to literally get up and step it out a little bit, but I take pictures too. So if you feel like you're missing anything, honestly, I almost missed the bus because I was in the gift shop buying some stuff, but that's a great place. It's a beautiful city. Bastogne is in Luxembourg. When they say a 5-star hotel, if you've never stayed at a 5-star hotel, this is what one looks like. And so we always were amazed at how beautiful that place you're going to stay in, downtown Luxembourg City.
Yeah, it's absolutely an experience as well. It's a good place to stay. That's true. And the food is absolutely fantastic. Okay, so we are getting towards the end of the tour here, but before we end in Paris this night and have an evening dinner cruise, we're going to leave Luxembourg in the morning and then stop in the city of the world of Champagne. So we'll make a stop in Reims, and Reims is the home of Champagne, but it's also the home to the Cathedral of Notre Dame, where 33 kings have been crowned here in France. Absolutely beautiful, beautiful church. We'll have time to walk around. We will also have a toast in Champagne. Of course, we are in the world of Champagne before we get into Paris for this last overnight, except if you are extending your stay for another 2 nights. So a little hectic to just be in Paris for 1 day, but hey, you got a river cruise. You're going to go up and down the River Seine and see the Eiffel Tower at nighttime with all the lights on and bling blings, and get a feel for that as well. The Notre Dame Church, also many of the churches called Notre Dame, Our Lady. So there is a Notre Dame in Reims, but there's also the Notre Dame in Paris that unfortunately burned quite a bit of it some years ago, but they have done a great job of rebuilding it, and you're going to see that as well from your dinner cruise here. And that is our last evening, as I said, except if you extend your stay. 160 miles, it allows us to make a decent stop in Reims and get into Paris. Paris is a more busy city, of course. So depending on traffic, we'll get in the afternoon to the hotel, have some time to refreshen up, and then just head out again to do a dinner cruise the last evening here.
Yeah, the thing about this one is when you're in Reims there, you're going to go to a schoolhouse where the actual surrender took place on May 7th, 1945. All the maps are still there. The tables are there. It looks like Eisenhower just left. And so
yes.
You're going to be at that schoolhouse. And then, like I said, the cathedral there, I tell you, Google that thing because it is impressive. When you look at the lights and the different views of that place, it is gargantuan. And then, like I said, when we get to Paris, this was added in the 2020 trip that got postponed due to COVID. We said, hey, we used to go into where did we end up? In Germany.
Up in Germany, and we were sleeping in Düsseldorf, and then from Düsseldorf we drove down to Paris.
Yeah, the Germans didn't really appreciate the liberation tour theme. They weren't kind of into that, because they started this whole thing. But so we said, hey, let's just, where Rheinberg is where we cross. So I mean, literally, if you're doing a tour afterwards, you want to know where we crossed across the Rhine River. It's at a place called Rheinberg, and then we went to Düsseldorf. This is a much better way. We're back towards Paris. We do a river cruise like we did at Düsseldorf. It's a nice way to sit back and relax and share some of your memories of the whole trip, because by this time you will have gotten to know people really well, and riding on a bus and listen to Brigitte and myself yammer all the time. But I mean, you'll get a chance to to really soak this up, and it's a chance to share with us some of the things you liked or maybe not so much, and then it kind of builds for the next year's tour. So we always take your input because it's important to us, and Executive Travel does everything they can to tighten the screws on the trips to make sure you get maximum amount of enjoyment out of it. And I like the river cruises at the end, because it really is just a total relaxing thing to do Paris at night on a river cruise.
It absolutely is. And I think, Jerry, cutting out the very, very long drive all the way up to Rheinberg, it's good. I think we have a program that is probably just a little less exhausting and tiring, because it was a very, very long drive to get all the way up to Rheinberg and then drive back to Düsseldorf, stay there. And then the following morning, when you're traveling back home, you were driving from Düsseldorf all the way to Charles de Gaulle Airport. It was tough. So and you had a heat wave hit you as well. It was very warm over there
Yeah,
in
we didn't know
2019.
we didn't know what the Celsius to Fahrenheit conversion was, but when they said, hey, it's going to be 42 degrees, we're like, hey, that's gonna be cool. And I go, wait a minute, that's Celsius. So it's like,
Yeah, that's about 110.
it was a hot
So
one. Yeah, it was
in
hot.
Fahrenheit, it was very warm days. Yeah, it absolutely was. So we're gonna end there, and then the following day we're traveling back home.
And that's
And
your plane right there.
that's
That's
the
the plane
plane
you're going to
right
take
there,
back. Yeah,
right? Yep. So
that's
what's
French airline.
happening is we have an early morning transfer. And for the ones who are staying, what Brigida is going to do is going to take our group out to the airport in the morning, and then she'll return back. And for the extension, she's going to do a city tour of Paris and dig deeper into Paris with you guys. There is a return through Newark on the way back, and you do come back, you do end back at the same day. So July 24, you leave France, it's the same day that you are arriving back here in America. So there is a breakfast box in the morning because it's very early in the morning. And then there are, of course, beverages and service meals included on board your transatlantic flights. So this is how we are ending, except if you are extending for another 2 nights. So we have a Paris sightseeing included, and then there are some optional tours that you can do. You can do anything from cooking classes to pastry classes to going out seeing Versailles, the castle, or just being around in Paris. There's so much to do. Just stroll and enjoy and just get familiar with Paris. Paris is absolutely wonderful. Some of the best museums in the world as well. World-class city. So that's what we do for the following 2 days if you extend your stay. And then I'm just going to go over a few things here with just practical information, and then feel free to ask any questions. So the tour price is $37.95, and that will cover the land for per person here for the entire tour that we have described. If you want to extend, there is that's per person in double. We do still have single rooms available at $45.95. And then you can extend. The pricing is listed here. Included is all the overnights, the program, the touring, the meals we mentioned, the tastings. Of course, Jerry is included in the tour too, and so is Brigida over there. And just anything you can think of. What I would say is not included is just your extra meals, the tipping to the guides, and also your airline ticket. So the not included, we have airfare here. So we are flying with United Airlines, and there is a $13.95 for the people who are doing the base tour, and it's a little higher the pricing if you do the extension. Travel insurance, also a very important thing. I should probably mention a little bit about that right now. We do recommend that you travel with travel insurance. We've always done that. So it'll cover you for any medical incident that happens while you are gone. It also covers you before you actually leave. If there is anything happening at home to family members or to yourself, and you have to stay at home, this is a protection of your investment. So if you go ahead and you purchase your travel insurance, you're very well covered. It also covers COVID. And I want to mention that because nowadays we do get a lot of questions related to COVID. What happens if I test positive when I'm over there and I don't feel well? What do I do? Well, you have to isolate and you have to stay in France. It's not the worst place in the world to get stuck, but you do need to isolate and separate from the group. We won't do any testings or anything unless you ask for it during the tour. But it's, as we speak today, you do need an antigen rapid, a quick test before you travel back to America. So we will test everyone. We'll have a meeting set up with a local pharmacy in Paris. It has to be 24 hours before you fly out. So that is all arranged by us. You will pay probably 20 euros, I would think. At this point, that's what the pricing is. It may even drop more, but we'll test you. If you happen to be positive, you have to isolate. The next test you can take is usually after 3-4 days, and you cannot travel back home until you are negative. So we will help you. Don't worry about it. If you have travel insurance, all the extra costs are covered. So it's quite an important thing. We've had a few people stuck in Europe here lately, some in Dublin, some in Edinburgh. And then we assisted them every day. We were in contact with them. We spoke with them. We got their flights rearranged and got everything ready for them, and they were ready to fly back home. Travel insurance will also cover if you are a couple traveling and say just one of you test positive. So what's happening? Am I going to leave my wife or my spouse or my husband in France? The insurance will cover for that spouse or that travel companion as well. So if you want to stay, you have to stay in 2 separate rooms, but you can still be there and be on the spot. I think it's very important to mention that because there are some kind of anxieties around what's happening with COVID, what if. So we can dig into that deeper, and we will when we get to the point of handing out your travel documents. We'll go over all this and we will see what type of restrictions are still on, and we'll go through all that. So don't worry about it, but if you have a travel insurance, you will be covered also financially if something happens there. So important facts and details. Actually, at this point in time, we do have the full balance, the full tour price due as a payment. What we will do if you sign up, and if you have friends signing up, if you're already with us, I know that a few of you here already signed up for the tour, we'll give you a week or 10 days to pay the balance. So we'll take a deposit once you sign up to guarantee your spots on the tour. And then you have a week to a 10-day window to get us the balance payment. 3 weeks before we take off, we will have a document handout meeting. And it's like we hand out a whole booklet with a lot of information about the trip, the data itinerary, and we'll go over things like currency. How is my cell phone working? Can I drink the water that comes out of the tap? Should I only brush my teeth in it? What about gratuities? How do I handle the electricity? We run in Europe on a different voltage than over here. Do I need an adapter, a converter? What is all this about?
And credit cards and banks, yeah.
Banks, credit cards, what do we recommend? How does all that jazz work over there? We'll go through all that when we hand out the documents. So it's usually a meeting of an hour and a half where we go over everything and we answer any question you can even think of, I hope. We do that approximately 3 weeks prior to the departure. You will have your airline tickets prepared for you there as well. All that kind of practical information and things that you need, documents that you need for traveling will be in your travel documents. And we do that. So that would be by the end of June. Jerry will find a date there and we will set it for the document handout date. Weather, Jerry, it was warmer when you were there. Yeah. 3 years ago, but the average in July is low 60s and high 80s, so perfect time. It's summertime in Europe. It will be warmer when you're outdoor and you are at a memorial. There's not a lot of shade, so sunscreen protection, protect yourself, wear a hat. But it's a great time of the year. Long nights, so you have daylight till very late in the evening. France, Belgium, and Luxembourg all runs on euros. So the euro to the dollar nowadays is almost 1-to-1, as the dollar has become very, very strong lately. So that's a great benefit for you if you plan on buying any souvenirs or purchasing anything over there. Extra meals and things will not seem expensive for you at all. Dress code, casual, casual, casual. Walking shoes, the most important thing. Have really good shoes, walking shoes, tennis shoes, but that with a nice kind of sole that will grasp the ground. You're going to walk on cobblestone, you're going to walk out in the sand, you're going to walk on dirt roads, you're going to walk on grass, you're going to get into some cows, meeting with some cows as well during the tour here. And in the big city of Paris as well. There are no dress code at all anywhere, not even on the last night on the river cruise. But when you visit churches, it's cover your shoulders and no shorts. We'll go over that when we hand out the documents as well. And again, like Jerry said, we'll go over currency. Can I use my credit cards? How do I do that? Where do I find an ATM? How do I withdraw money? It's all going to come in those documents that we're handing out. This is the staircase of the
mayor's office
in Nancy. Yes. So a great group picture. This is a picture of, we're in the middle of the trip here in 2019. And this is the grand staircase of the mayor's office. And we definitely plan on taking a group picture there. You can see we were a lot of travelers on that trip back 3 years ago, but this is where we're at in the middle of the tour. So,
And we have
it's-
some repeat travelers there. In the
We
center
do.
there is the
yes, the
Society
Miltons.
President for the Nebraska National Guard, Darren.
Oh, yeah,
Kruger's
Darren.
going. Yeah, he's going.
Darren
And
is with us. Darren is right here.
Yep.
And we have a couple here, Brigida.
yeah, there's
Jerry, that's you up here, I believe.
yep, that's me.
And we have Ralph is here in the front, our hero Ralph.
Ralph wants to go again, but he's 95, so he's probably not going to go. But I'm not going to stop him. So
Well, nobody's going to stop him if he wants to come. He's always welcome. So absolutely. So any questions? I think I'm going to try and say stop share screen, because that gives me the ability to actually see you folks. Oh, Mary, I see you now. Hi, Mary. I know you're muted, but so thank you, Jerry. Any questions here to the two of us?
You covered most of it, but do we need to take our COVID cards with us?
Yes.
And like we've had the 2 shots and 1 booster, is that enough?
That is enough. That's enough as we speak today. Yes. And we recommend you, of course, carry your vaccination card with you. Non-vaccinated travelers can join. There is a testing required before you fly out of the US. We will let you know about that as well. If anybody is not vaccinated, there are requirements now still in place for a COVID test, a PCR test, or a rapid test. But always bring your vaccination card. And we recommend you to take a photocopy or 2 and put them in different places. So if you carry a vaccination card like I do in my wallet, and I also have an electronic copy of it on my phone, but always a couple of extra copies, put one in your suitcase and put one in a bag that you're not, carrying all the time. Then you have a backup, just worst case scenario.
And same thing with the passport.
Same thing with the passport. Always carry a copy of your passport as well and leave it in your suitcase just in case.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, Sue, I always have a man purse. This is what I wear around my neck. And executive travel gives you a fancier man purse than this one. So I put all my stuff in there. Mary gets mad. I got everything in there, man. I'm hauling the mail, man. I do not be left anywhere. So the man purse is the way to go.
Equipped, Jerry. If someone finds you somewhere, if you've had a little bit of too much of that Calvados, we know who you are.
Yeah, my man purse.
Okay. And does Brigitte, do I say? Does she go with us on the Paris extension?
Yes.
I mean, do we have somebody escorting us?
Yeah.
Yeah,
She
she
will be
lives. She lives there. So
lives
I
in
mean,
Paris.
Mary and I would be jealous. Yeah, we'd be jealous because I tell you, the people that did that, I know Darren went, and I know several other couples went. The Matskys from here in Seward went. They loved it. And Brigitte treats. I mean, they really had some nice places to go visit. So I know you'll enjoy that one.
And one more question. I know we're going to France and it's a very Catholic country, but we're Catholic and are hoping to hit mass on those Saturday night, Sunday. Can Brigitte help us do that?
Yes.
I see
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Absolutely.
boats and things some of those times. So
Yes.
just ask her for the best advice.
She will be with you day and night, and she is a source. So she's like I would say she's a Wikipedia.
Okay.
So you just
Ask
speak with Brigitte. She'll make it happen for you.
Yeah, and that's she's done some accommodations for Alan for some stuff. You'll be in Bayou July 16th, Saturday evening, and you'll be back in enough time. That's a full day at Omaha Beach and stuff like that. And the cathedral is just down from the hotel. So again, we can make accommodate. I would love to go see mass, and I'm former Methodist, so I mean I love to go see mass at the cathedral.
Okay, just thought I'd ask, but good.
Yes.
We'll keep in touch with her at
Yep.
that time.
Yep.
Okay, that's all mine.
All right. Any other questions before we call it a night here? If you have any questions, please always call us here at the office. Jerry as well, he's so accommodating. And if you wouldn't mind, yes, Jeff, yeah.
Yeah, I just, for the document handout day, 3 weeks before the trip, for people that live out of state, how is that going to work?
Like today on Zoom. Yeah.
Okay.
So we will include you. Most likely I am going to be in Europe. So we usually do an afternoon document handout. It could be also at 10 o'clock in the morning. It depends. It will be recorded no matter what. So if the day doesn't work for you, you will have the recorded version of the document handout as well. We'll send the link to you and you can listen to what we're saying and how we're handing it out. And again, if it doesn't work for you, the date and the time, you can always give us a call and we're happy to go over the documents with you on a 1-to-1, 1-to-2 person.
So
Okay.
when you say if we have questions, call the office, should we ask for anybody in particular?
Anne or Beth?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 Ann or Beth, those are the two you call, Ann or Beth.
And even if I am in Europe, it doesn't matter. I'll always call you back. Now, if it happens to be 3 in the morning, so I'll probably call you back the following day, but I'm pretty good at staying up very, very late until almost the office over here is closing. So that is in Greece. We're 8 hours ahead. In France, they're 7 hours ahead of Central Time. So most likely
We can
you're
call
going
the
to speak with me.
office number and say, this is what I
Just
want.
ask for Anne or Beth.
Okay, gotcha.
You're good.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you.
So
Any questions?
that is wonderful. Oh, I see Judy and Trudy and Jeff Hines. Oh my goodness. Wow. Haven't seen you for a while. Love it. Hi. All right.
We're excited. We're excited to join the tour.
Yes, finally, Jeff. Finally, and Trudy. Finally. We
Yeah,
can travel again.
it's our third try. And so
I know you've been
We've
very
been-
loyal and very patient. I gotta admit that.
and to the other people that are on this call, we are big Ann Fullby fans. So she will be
Thank you. Thank you so much for saying that. I'm a big fan of you guys too. You know that. So we're doing our best. We want everybody always to have the trip of a lifetime. One of the things that we really point out as well during a tour is like, there's something you see, something you hear, something you're not happy with, you have to remember to tell us while you're on the tour. Report it immediately. We can't fix anything when you come back home and you said, oh, I you know, this, that, and the other. No, just speak up, come to Jerry, come to Brigitte, call me and tell me something, and, you know, we'll fix it. We'll do our best. We really aim for you to have the best time that you possibly can. This trip with the National Guard Museum is our flagship tour. I believe that even Steve Glenn, who traveled on the first tour, he came back and he said to me, you know, Anne, we need to do this every year. This is such an important journey. This is something that is so unique, and it just separates from all the other tours that we're doing. Not that they're not absolutely wonderful and amazing, but this trip it's the Americans, it's who we are. And I couldn't agree more, because being a European, and also my grandmother was involved in the Second World War in Denmark, actually shipping Jewish people over to Sweden, which was neutral. Sweden was neutral during the Second World War. Copenhagen, Denmark, very close to Sweden. The borders are just water borders, and actually there is 1.5 miles only in certain places. And so it's very near to my heart as well to do a tour like this. And I feel so blessed I ran into you, Jerry, and this is a tour we want to repeat every year, because it's something unique to all of us. Even if you're on the other side, like a European, to me, it's the Americans, and it's always been. And that's how I was raised. You know, we're so grateful. We're so thankful. So
Well,
you are also with us in Ukraine actually now. Executive
Yeah.
Travel is running an absolutely wonderful project.
Yep.
Steve again came up with this in Poland. We are in Warsaw right now and have been there for a couple of months. The Operation Safe Harbor is something Executive Travel is behind and doing. Just again, the Americans, they come over and they do a great job. I admire you. Hats off, because nobody is more united than the Americans, and just really helping us over there. And I cannot understand sometimes why we can't be united, but I guess the French, they eat baguettes, and the Italians have their focaccia, and the Greeks have their horiatiki, and we all speak a different language, but over here you are united, and I have felt it, and I'm just admiring you. So it's a great honor to be able to assist with this and just do the practical back end stuff, and then having Jerry lead this. It's great.
Well, and I want to add two things there. On the first trip in 2019 for the 75th anniversary, a couple of the groups came from different parts of the country, from Chicago, Atlanta, and all these different places, and they go, my relative was in the regiment that fought with the Nebraskans, but they weren't from Nebraska. But by the end of the trip, they were from Nebraska. They go, we're part of this family now. So it's kind of a cool experience. You'll get it. You may not get it now, but you will at the end of the
Oh,
trip.
you will.
People were smiling. If you would have showed a picture at the end of the trip, they were still smiling. So, that's a good trip, when you don't have somebody, but then again, I just did an article for the local paper, and I wrote about these men that you're going to meet in the cemetery, and, and their legacy. Last year, there was about 240,000 World War II veterans that were still alive in America, American veterans. They die at a rate of 234 a day. So that's about 85,000 we lost last year. And so we're getting down to about 150 some thousand World War II veterans that are still alive. Ralph is still one of them. He's still amongst us. And again, I just say, we're like kind of at the last link. Our parents and grandparents were of that generation. You got to carry the torch for them, because once they're gone, they're gone. And if you're not telling about their memory, and Anne has a unique perspective to that, every site that you go to, there'll be something that you'll remember, and you'll think, man, that is really impressive. And that's what we want to get out of the trip is to have you, have an experience like that. Because I tell you, it's we're following the footsteps of the Nebraska guys, but you know what, if your relative was with Patton in the Third Army, they followed the same route. I mean, you're going to be driving the same route that they did. You're not hauling a weapon or walking, you're riding a nice bus, but it's a good time. And Brigitte really gets it. I mean, she learned a lot on the trip in 2019, and I learned a lot from her. So we work off each other, and at any time, you have a question or whatever, and if we don't have the answer, we'll find it for you.
Just bring it up. And absolutely, yes, Jerry. And I think what, in regards to the veterans that are still around, many of them, they don't speak about the Second World War. There was kind of like they're just silent about it. So they need to be honored as long as they are among us, because one day they will not be here anymore. And give my love to Ralph again. I know that he's hanging out at the museum quite often, but these people were heroes, and you're gonna understand that. You're gonna feel that on this tour. So it's unique. All right. Well, if you wouldn't mind, I'm going to ask you, because I really want to send you this video about the harbor, the floating harbor, the Mulberry Harbor. If you don't mind sending me just a short email, it doesn't need to say anything else, but just hi, to groupdepartment@executivetravel.com. Group department spelled out in one word at executivetravel.com. I will make sure to send you that YouTube video here within the next couple of days. It's just absolutely fantastic. It's something that really touched me, and it talks about Churchill and how he figured out how to do this. And he went back to Roosevelt, and they discussed what to do and how to set this whole harbor up and do the actual D-Day and how to operate it. Super interesting. I'd be happy to send that to you, that video to you, so you can watch it. Group department@executivetravel.com. That comes also to me, and I will get that video off to you. And so with that, Jerry, I think we can wrap up for today. The recorded link to this presentation will be on our website as well in a couple of days. It takes approximately 12 hours to sync. It's been a longer presentation, but I'll get it on there too. So if you want to watch it again, feel free to click on that link. I'll get it in there. And thank you very much, everyone. Jerry, thank you as usual. Love it. Thank you so much. Yep. Thanks for joining. And any questions, just give us a call.
Thank you, Anne. Thank you. You did a great job.
Thank you. Thanks, Jerry.
Nice to see you again.
Oh, it's wonderful, Mary.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.